Today's episode is inspired from my Self-Care Society class titled Practicing Presence in Life's Moments. And I hope your new year is off to a great start and that you're able to be present in all the joy and all the things that are ahead of you and available to you. So before we jump in, I wanted to let you know that we recently launched our 6th U-Year program, and it's unlike anything we've done before. While many choose to do the U-Year program now at the start of a new year, it's also a perfect way to kick off a new birthday, a new life transition, or really just for any time you're looking for a fresh start. You're going to gain lifetime access when you get it, so grab it now and dig in at any time that it feels resonant to you. And if you love the idea of creating an inspiring, realistic, and exciting annual plan for the year ahead, as well as creating the system to truly live that out, U-Year will help you do all that and more. You can learn more at selfcaresociety.co. So we're starting our class today on presence with a quote from Danielle Laporte, one of my favorite thought leaders and authors. And this is from her book, How to Be Loving. And she says, "When you get still and take the time to consider how beautiful life truly is, you'll have more compassion and acceptance for the ugliness and the chaos. Your stillness will increase your capacity for holding the dichotomies and paradox of your life. And then it will become more apparent that we are all participating in an ongoing miracle. Looking within is how we awaken to the true reality, because it has never been outside of us." So, presence. I think that presence is something, especially today, that we're all looking to cultivate more of. There's so many distractions, whether it's with our smartphones or technology or, the excess of information and educational content out there. It's really hard. It's really hard to stay present. It's really hard to stay focused. So I hope that today's episode and the exercises we do today are going to help you find a little bit more presence. And the dictionary defines the word presence as in a particular place or existing or occurring now. And sometimes it's hard to realize how little we actually exist in the now, like right now. So we will do some exercises today, both, sort of meditation, as well as like digging into what presence looks like, that I really hope will help you get into that and that you can take with you and utilize. So we are going to do our pause and practice just before we start. So if it feels safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes. I want you to just practice how it feels to be present right now. In this moment, what does it feel like in your body to be truly present? For me, it's just grounding. I just feel like I am actually in my physical vessel. I'm right here, right now. And that there's just a sense of calm when I come to presence in my body, when I allow myself to experience this. So take whatever time in that energy that you need, and you can open your eyes whenever you feel ready. And just see if you can carry that feeling of presence with you throughout our session today and beyond. And maybe take a deep breath in and out if you need one. So I'll share a little bit about presence in my own life and a story that really reminds me of presence. So I sat down in this new therapist's office in Los Angeles, and she asked me how I felt. And I wanted to laugh. I was in my late 20s, because it had finally occurred to me that I didn't feel, or at least I thought I didn't feel. I certainly didn't know what I was feeling. And I had spent my whole life answering the question of how I was doing based on how I thought I should feel given the circumstances in my physical environment, instead of the sensations and truths that were within my body that I just had no sort of capacity or practice of tuning into. So it made sense that I turned to food as a drug, and other substances too, because I had just buried everything I felt for so long just within myself. And I never actually gave it the space to be heard and to be dealt with and to dissipate. Now, the therapy was called ISTDP, stands for Intensive Short-Term Dynamic Psychotherapy. And I can certainly tell you that it changed my life. I was quite literally shocked when she explained to me that feelings had corresponding sensations in my body. That when I'm angry, I might feel it in my hands, or that when I'm sad, I might feel constriction of my throat or of my chest. That when I felt shame, I may feel a pit in my stomach or tension in my shoulders. Like, what? I don't have to just guess how I feel when someone asks me. I mean, I was mind blown. This is just not something you really learn, certainly not in school, at least where I was. So, as I went through many weeks of this therapy and I started really seeing firsthand these mechanisms that I had for bolting from myself, it was pretty eye-opening. When we would talk about something hard, I noticed that my brain would leave the room. And mostly it would go to the Trader Joe's across the street, and I'd dream of all the foods that I was going to buy after my session and binge eat on my commute back to Orange County. And food was my drug at the time, and I used it to numb. So it made sense that when we talked about something hard, my mechanism was on autopilot that just said, nope, don't want to talk about this, leaving my body, leaving my mind towards my comfort. Really interesting. So eventually I got the courage to tell her when I'd mentally left the room, and it allowed us to really come back and work through whatever it was I was escaping. And over time, I was able to do this on my own, and eventually it became a lot more second nature. So what's the point? Well, when I stopped leaving my body and I started using the sensations that I felt to guide me about how I was feeling in any given circumstance, it then allowed me to navigate my life with so much more ease. I could show up authentically. I didn't need to rehearse life. I wasn't scared for what might come up because I trusted that I could respond appropriately based on my true needs and my desires. And I got to know myself more authentically, and so did others. I noticed that my relationships deepened. I met my soulmate, and I started building a life I had always dreamed of based on what really felt good on the inside. Okay? So such gifts of being present with ourselves and what's going on within us. All right, so here are 5 tips for finding more presence in your life. Now, the first one is to practice gratitude, specifically present gratitude. So I do this every day in my life sheet. This is something you can learn to build through Year program if you're interested. I have a spreadsheet with goals and truths and gratitude and all the things. And you can ask yourself when you do this practice, what can I be thankful for right now in my life? And this really helps us to keep us in the very moment that we are in. Because for me, it was easy to practice like future gratitude as I manifested, right? Or practice gratitude for bigger things, right? But what I think is really powerful is to sit there right now and say, what am I grateful for? What's right in front of me? The second thing you can do is a body scan meditation. So for this, you're just going to close your eyes and you're just going to scan through your body slowly from your head down to your feet and really notice any sensations that you might be experiencing. And you're going to put your consciousness in each part and really just bear witness to whatever is going on. Is there tension? Is there tightness? Are you feeling a certain way? And just honoring each physical space in your body. Number 3 is to get out in nature. I'm an avid organic gardener, and there's nothing that I've noticed that grounds me more in presence than putting my hands in the soil. I also like to get out on hikes or just to simply get my feet in the grass or watch the sunrise. I find that being out in nature is incredibly grounding and helps us stay incredibly present with what is really there, like what's really physically there in front of us. Okay. And it helps to go inward through that process as well. The next thing is to notice when you're escaping yourself. So like the story I told previously, we can live in our heads so much of the day, and we have to be diligent about coming back to our heart and to our physical body because there's so much wisdom there to guide us. But if we're not willing to do that and we're living in our heads and we're overthinking and we're letting that run our life, we tend to escape a lot of our real truth. And we're escaping a lot of real presence. So I find it really helps for me to just even put my hands on my heart when I'm doing a practice like that. The last thing is to read Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now or Byron Katie's Loving What Is. And of course, there are many, many more books on presence out there that are really powerful, but those were the 2 that really came to mind as I thought about this. They're just books that can help you really drop into the present moment and honor what's truly real. So The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and Loving What Is by Byron Katie to help you really just love what's right in front of you and what's true for you. All right. So as always, we're going to practice together feeling more present, and we're going to use some exercises straight from Self-Care Society classes. So as always, I'm going to pause to give you a moment to think or to write, but feel free to stop the recording if you need more time to ponder. You'll also hear inspiring examples from our live classes too, our real life members. And if you want to be one of those real life members and you want to share and maybe share some of your examples, will end up on the podcast. You can join us for a full schedule of live and on-demand classes at selfcaresociety.co. Okay, so let's get started. So we're actually going to start with a mindfulness practice. So there's no sort of writing or excessive creativity involved, I just want to kind of guide you. And in my early morning meditation, I've been really actively trying to practice this art of no mind or not thinking. And it comes in these really tiny, quick little slivers, because the act of trying to practice and being aware that I'm practicing is usually using my thinking brain, right? So it's very challenging. But in these tiny glimpses that I get between my racing mind, where I really get to feel what it feels like to not think, I feel like I uncover so much ease and lightness, and it feels almost euphoric. So I want to practice this together and show you kind of what I mean by this. So I'm going to start by guiding you, and then I'll give you a moment to kind of practice on your own. So if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes and really just listen here. Okay? So what does it feel like to you to be present in this very moment? What does that mean? For me, I find a few things helpful. So really practicing existing in your body, wearing your body, almost like a costume, feeling your skin wrapping around you and the fullness of what it feels like to embody your entire being. I want you to really fill it out, your body, like a one-piece snowsuit, for example. Like really put it on, really expand into this physical vessel you have, wear it all. And next, I want you to imagine your eyes that they're coming out from your heart space instead of your head, where they actually are, okay? So you're going to look at the world from the eyes in your heart, and just notice if you feel a sense of ease and lightness when you do that. Okay? When you look at the world with your eyes coming from your heart instead of your head. And now we're going to practice this no mind practice I'm talking about. So a reminder, this is incredibly difficult. It's almost impossible. So if that's how you experience it, you're not alone. And you're actively trying to relax so much into the present moment that you don't think. Okay? So notice when you practice this, if you even get just the little glimpses of just being, and if you can notice the lightness in your eyes and in your face, and in those moments where you can feel it. So I want you to practice this independently. Just a minute is like, can you actually experience what it feels like to be without thinking? And when your mind inevitably escapes, bring it back and try it again. Can you give yourself just a second or a moment where you're not thinking about anything? And man, I notice at least that whenever I do that, my face just relaxes. I just feel light. I feel ease. So it's a powerful practice. It's challenging, as I said, but you can come back to it anytime you'd like. And it does get easier each time. All right, so let's move into some of our more formal exercises. We have a reflection exercise to start called reflecting on presence. And I want you to ask yourself, where in your life do you feel very present? And where in life would you like to be more present? How might you invite more presence in? So for example, I said, I feel I'm mostly very present with my daughter, Billy. Not perfectly, but I'm so enthralled by her that I simply watch her engage with life. I'm there in that moment. I'm just really soaking it in. I also find that I'm really present when I'm in my garden. I'm there, I'm doing the task at hand. I'm not thinking much about other things. Where I would like to be even more present is when I eat meals, so I can fully taste the food and be in touch with my body. I notice personally that I often find distractions while I eat. So take a moment to just think about where you feel really present, where you'd like to call in more presence, and anything else that you want to include. Okay, great. So our next exercise is a gratitude exercise called Thank You for My Presence. I want you to think back on some moments in your life where you feel you were truly present. And I want you to make a gratitude list or think of a gratitude list and say thank you for those moments. Okay, so oftentimes these are big moments, but not always. So my example is I said, thank you for my presence in the process of birthing my daughter and the extraordinary moment she arrived and I held her on my chest. Thank you for my presence as I held Grandma's hand in her final days and said goodbye and told her how much I loved her. Thank you for my presence with Kingsley, my dog, as he took his last breaths on his favorite spot on the couch. And thank you for my presence with all the incredible women I met on the Brunch Series tour. Okay, so I want you to think of at least one moment that you really feel like you experience true presence in the past and just say thank you for it. At least one, but you can of course do more than that. Megan says, thank you for all the times I laughed so hard I couldn't breathe. It was pure joy. Jane says, thank you for the presence during my mom's death. That last breath will live with me forever. Thea says, thank you for my presence whenever I see my brother, when we're laughing and talking way too fast over one another. Our next exercise is a self-love exercise called the moments you refuse to miss. And I want you to think about or write yourself a loving note about all the beautiful present moments that you wish for yourself to experience in your lifetime. Okay, so this is where we get to dream and play a little bit. So my example, I said, Danika, I hope you are totally present for the birth of all of your children, awake and aware and in awe of the miracle of life. I hope you can be present as you look around at the life you've built that was once one of your wildest dreams. I wish you presence as you travel around the world, taking in the beauty of nature and the diversity of cultures. Okay, so pause here. What do you wish for yourself when it comes to present life moments? What do you hope to experience, and how can you gift yourself a little bit of joy as you ponder that? Marissa says, Marissa, I hope you are present in all the little joys each day brings, in the small wonders, beauty, and awe. I hope you are present with Brian and our children, soaking in all the love amongst the chaos. I hope you are present with yourself, taking quiet moments to love on yourself. Carrie says, Carrie, thank you for all the times you were truly engaged and present in conversation without thinking of what you were going to say next or having your thoughts wander to something completely unrelated. Thank you for being able to slow down and really embrace nature and notice the little things. Thank you for the benefit of being present to each task at work, the presence of paying attention to how I move, to how I eat, and to how I rest. Wow, so good. Okay, so we're going to move into some intentionality, and this is our final exercise, and it's called present mini moments, all right? So we're going to really bring it into our actual current life. So I want you to think about your day tomorrow, and I want you to make a list of all the extra present mini moments that you might gift yourself, and just list as many as you can think of. Okay. So for example, I said, smelling my coffee in the early morning as I start a new day, having gratitude for my body and my ability to work out and get stronger, the magic of breastfeeding and how my body nourishes my daughter, awe at the tiny seeds that are sprouting in my garden and growing into food every day. So take a moment thinking about any of the small moments, either that you're going to have today or tomorrow. How can you romanticize them a little bit more? How can you become more present in these little things that exist within our day-to-day life? Beautiful work. And now we're going to have a video share or audio share from Nati.
When I open my eyes and stretch, I want to take in the softness of the sun entering the room, and I want to take in the quiet. That's probably one of my favorite things is like, when I wake up, you just like the morning glow, and it's just soft, and it's like, there's nothing outside. It's just you with your thoughts, and like, it's just so peaceful.
Thank you so much, Nati. It's beautiful. Now, as you navigate a new year, I am wishing you as much presence as possible as you find it in yourself to focus on what's right in front of you. It's not possible to stay present all the time, but even the tiny glimpses throughout your day can serve as powerful relief. Thank you so much for joining me today on your morning mindset practice. I hope you're feeling more present, and I'd love to have you join us at selfcaresociety.co for a live or on-demand class so you can stay consistent with your self-care, connect with other like-minded people, and continue filling your cup so you can overflow onto the world. We need you. See you next time.